history and varieties of whiskey, and we'll include some winter recipes. That's what's coming up after the news. This is WNYC, WNYC.org. Stick around.
From NPR News in Washington, I'm Lori London. The Obama administration is placing a moratorium on all new coal leases on federal land. As NPR's Jeff Brady reports, the plan is to review the fees charged to mining companies and the environmental impacts of burning coal.
The comprehensive review the Obama administration plans will examine whether the fees charged give taxpayers a fair return. Last year, coal leases earned the U.S. government nearly $1.3 billion. But critics argue the program should bring in even more money. The administration also will study coal's effect on the environment. When burned, coal emits more of the greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change than other fuels like natural gas. About 40% of the nation's coal production comes from public lands, most of it in Wyoming. The moratorium will apply to new coal leases only. Existing leases already awarded to companies are not affected. Jeff Brady, NPR News.
France is urging the European Union to move faster to tighten security and cut off financing to extremist groups following two deadly attacks last year in Paris. NPR's Eleanor Beardsley reports.
French Finance Minister Michel Sapin said France couldn't wait another day for decisions to be taken in Brussels. Sapin is in Brussels Friday meeting with his European counterparts. France wants the EU to boost intelligence sharing in the financial world in order to better identify and stop the funding of terrorist groups. The French government has called for tightening the rules on prepaid cash cards and introducing tougher controls over the use of virtual currencies like bitcoins. Sapin demanded that the EU's Executive Commission lay out by next month a very precise vision of what measures must be taken. Under pressure from France, the EU has agreed to start keeping passenger airline lists, a measure it always resisted as an invasion of privacy. Eleanor Beardsley, NPR News, Paris.
Ride-sharing company Uber is facing fines of $7.5 million in California for failing to meet data reporting requirements. As Bob Hensley reports, the state's Public Utilities Commission says it agrees with the judge's penalty.
The agency says driver and rider information is necessary to determine whether or not Uber is properly serving passengers in all types of neighborhoods. Uber has agreed to pay the fine to avoid a 30-day suspension of its license. The company officials say they'll appeal the decision.
The company says it has given the court all the data requested. There is one more GOP debate scheduled before the February 1st Iowa caucuses with less than 3 weeks to go. Candidates Donald Trump and Ted Cruz had some heated exchanges in last night's debate in Charleston, South Carolina, on the Fox Business Network. Stocks are plunging today in early trading as the price of oil takes another tumble. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is now down 414 points. This is NPR.
This is WNYC in New York. I'm Richard Hake. Today's the deadline for real estate developers and construction unions to reach an agreement over wages for building affordable housing that would qualify for a tax break known as 421A. The union wants developers to be required to pay prevailing wages. Developers say that would make building affordable housing too expensive. Politico reporter Sally Goldenberg says Mayor de Blasio is counting on the program to fulfill his pledge to build 80,000 new units of affordable housing.
Without it, if he wants to get to that ultimate goal, he's going to have to use city subsidies and just pay developers more money.
Goldenberg says it's unlikely the two sides will come to an agreement before today's deadline. City officials may announce by today a deal that could save Central Park's horse-drawn carriages from a threatened ban by the mayor. The City Hall official tells the Associated Press the plan would retire perhaps two-thirds of the roughly 200 horses now working in the park and would provide a new stable for the remaining horses. New Yorkers are reacting to comments made in last night's Republican debate about New York values. Texas Senator Ted Cruz said Donald Trump embodies New York values, which he characterized as socially liberal and focused on money and media. But 66-year-old Brenda Bias from East New York says New Yorkers are more than that.
We're not always as friendly as we should be, but we do value life. We would try to respect other people. We're patriotic. And when 911 came about, we really somehow we all came together.
Cruz has been criticized for taking unreported loans from Goldman Sachs for his Senate campaign and receiving donations from a New York hedge fund for his presidential run. It'll be partly sunny today, highs expected in the lower 50s. Rain in the forecast tonight, lows in the lower 40s, and more rain tomorrow morning.
Support for NPR comes from Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
Hi, this is Tom Colicchio, Kraft and Top Chef, and you're listening to Food Fridays on the Leonard Lopate Show on WNYC 93.9 FM, AM 820, and WNYC.org. We're starting up Food Fridays again, and this is actually the first time we're doing the series in the wintertime. Of course, we thought Melissa Clark would be the perfect guest to kick things off, so because the James Beard Award winner has been such a great guest in the past. She is I'm getting lost, Melissa. She's here to talk about a 3-part DIY project to brighten your winter meals. And as you probably know, Melissa is the columnist for the New York Times. Her Good Food column appears every Wednesday. You can also follow her on Twitter, where her handle is @MelissaClark. And I'm very pleased to welcome her back to our show.
Great to be here.
Do you like cooking in the wintertime?
Oh, I love, especially in the wintertime. Well,
really?
Not more than the summer, though. I take that back. I love cooking all year long. Winter cooking is cozy cooking. It's snuggle up in the kitchen, drink hot tea while you're chopping onions, and, your oven is going. Maybe you have bread in there. Maybe you have some stew simmering and bubbling. It's just a great time to just sort of hunker down.
Well, your stove is always keeping the place warm.
And yes, and that is the best thing, is being in the kitchen all day. You're warm. You're by the stove. It's so much nicer than being, say, in a cold office where you have to sit and write and be very still.
But there is a challenge to finding fresh local ingredients.
Yes, so you do have to, so I have two thoughts about that. The first is you do have to learn how to get the most out of what is local and seasonal. So you have to embrace the cabbage. Got to learn to love those